This is a step-by-step tutorial on how to shoot sunset time-lapse. I got a Sony mirrorless camera, the Alpha 6400, recently, and it has a built-in intervalometer. I was in Greece for vacation, and I wanted to shoot some sunset time-lapse. It actually took me hours of research, plus trial and error, so I wanted to share my experience. There are several different methods of shooting sunset. Some photographers adjust exposure during time-lapse to maintain even exposure. This way they can shoot time-lapse of daytime, sunset, and star. It's complicated. There's an easier method to keep constant setting during shooting. Let's talk about planning. The first thing you want to decide is how long the clip you want. So this determines the number of frames you need to shoot, and it also depends on the FPS that you plan to use in the film. Here's an example table. So assuming we're using 24 frames per second, it will take 240 frames to make a 10-second video, and then 360 frames to make 15 seconds, and so forth. After you decided the duration you need and the number of frames, then you have to figure out how long will the time lapse take. The shooting time is equal to the interval between shots times the number of frames. So if the interval between shots is in seconds, you divide that by 60, and then you'll get the shooting time in minutes. This is what I did, and this is my recommendation. So I wanted a 10-second video at 24 frames per second, that's 240 frames. And for sunset, the sun moves quite slowly. So you can use 8 seconds intervals. So with 240 frames, that comes out to 32 minutes of shooting time. You can look up the actual sunset time online. So you want to start shooting 20 to 25 minutes before sunset, and that will leave you about 5 to 10 minutes after sunset. Next, let's talk about camera settings. First of all, you need to have a tripod. And then you need a camera with intervalometer feature or an external unit. So on the camera itself, set the white balance. So you can use daylight, or you can use cloudy and shade if you want warmer tones. Use aperture priority mode. Set the aperture to f8 and ISO to 100. For metering, use evaluative or matrix. And for exposure composition, set to -1. You might have to play around with this. The sun will be quite bright, so you want to reduce your exposure. So again, this is an easier method. There's no need to change camera settings during the shooting, and there's no need to do post-processing. I hope this helps. Here is a final time-lapse shot in Irakleio on the island of Crete, overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. I did play around with it in Final Cut Pro and added the Ken Burns transition.